All right, so first step is you want to find your line and you want to take it under your spool. And then you want to open. So you get some loose line and you want to take the line through every eyelet going all the way up. Once you've reached the top, you want to make sure you have enough loose line so you're able to tie on your bait, whatever it may be. We're using the Senko today, so once I have enough line, I'll close the bail, pull it tight, and then we're going to grab our hook.
Take it slow.
How you want me to do it? What do you want me to do?
Do an improved clinch knot. And take.
So you're gonna first put the line through the eye of the hook, pull it up, so you have line on both sides. You have your cut end and then you have your end connected to the rest. Then you're gonna want to pinch right here and you're gonna rotate the loose line around. Good amount of times. So I'll pull the hook through, right?
And then you go back around through the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
The bottom hole you made.
You go back through the bottom hole you made.
And then now you got to take it back through the hole you just made. So it's right through there.
And then the little hole, take it back through.
You got to wet the line too. So you got to show them you slobbering on it. Make sure you
Once it gets through,
hold the tag in so it don't come loose.
you hold the tag in so it doesn't come loose.
Wet the line.
You want to give the line a little bit of wetness, so you can either spin on it or you can like that, and then you want to pull.
Pull the main line. Pull the main line.
Pull the main line,
Yeah.
and then you're going to want to cut your tag. All right, when rigging your bait, you want to put it through the top, all the way down to the bottom. Push the hook back out this way. Push it all the way up to the top. It should be covering your eye. And then you want to lay the hook flat next to it. And where this is right here. So let's see. Next to this red sparkle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put it through at that exact spot. All the way through. And then rotate it up. And that's how you rig a Senko.
So this is a bait casting reel. This is your reel. This little knob right here is your drag. This is your tension knob. This is your brake knob or wheel, whatever you want to call it. And then this is your like lever. Is that what you call it?
Push button.
Push button to release the bail. So If you push this button down and let the line go, whenever you first get one, it'll backlash. And the best way to remove a backlash is you just keep the button pushed down and just keep pulling out your line until it gets all smooth again and it's not all bunched up. And just grab your line and reel it back in. And now I'm going to go over how to set up a bait caster. And this is selective towards lure, so each lure you're going to need to readjust this. So first you're going to start with your brakes, and normally they'll have numbers 1 through 10, 1 through 6. Mine is actually 1 through 4. So I would go around half, which for me would be 2. So I put my brakes on 2. I don't know if you can see that. And then you're going to want to tighten your tension knob all the way up tight until whenever you push this button, nothing happens. And then slowly loosen your tension knob until the bail starts to release the line. And you want it to release at a pace where if you let it hit the ground, it'll just stop. It won't backlash like it did. But if it's too loose like this, it'll just do that again. And then you're gonna need to do this whole process over again.
Show the drag.
Yeah. So I got mine out. And then I'm gonna reset it to about half, to where whenever I let it down, it stops and nothing happens. That's a little loose. That should be good right there. And then next I'm gonna go over the drag. So if my drag were all the way loose, you should be able to just, with the bail closed, you should just be able to pull it out. That's not good. You wanna tighten your drag until it's hard for you to pull it. You don't want to be able to pull it out easily. So probably a little tighter. Because if your drag's too loose, whenever you go to set the hook on a fish, there's no setting power behind it because the drag will just slip. Okay? And then now I'm going to go over how to cast. So come on this side. Okay? So you're always going to want to hover your thumb over the bail. You never want to take it off all the way. So the best way to cast is not above your head, it's to the side, like a sidearm. You want to swing it to the side and just flick it. Okay? So for me to do that, step 1 is you push in the bail and then hold the spool with your thumb. And then whenever you go to do your swing, release your thumb just above the bail. Not like way out here, just above it, so you can stop the lure before it hits the water. You need to watch the lure while it's flying through the air, and you put your thumb on it before it hits the water. So right now I'm gonna demonstrate. And whenever you go to cast, you want about a foot or so of line between your lure and the rod. You don't want to cast with it all the way up here or all the way down here. You want about a foot above, something like that right there. And then I'm gonna cast it. So you push the button in, hold your thumb, and you learn to release it at the right time for when you swing. It goes out and it goes straight and not left or right. So for me to swing, I'm gonna pull back and I'm just gonna flick the rod, let go of my thumb, and stop the lure before it hits the water. And then you just turn the reel a little bit to lock the button back in. And then that's how you would cast it. And then you watch your lure and watch your line and just give it some pops here and there. And whenever a fish is on your line, you'll know because you'll feel it in the tip of your rod and you'll feel it fighting against the tip of your rod. And then your hook set, you reel in the slack in your line, and you don't have to yank like as hard as you can. You just got to give it a nice hook set to where you can feel it, like I don't know, but you get a nice hook set to where it's not super light and the fish will spit it out, but not so hard that you yank the fish flying out of the water. So that's how you set up and cast a bait caster with Luke's drag. Ready?
Good set, ready? Yeah. When you feel a bite, you want to, there we go. You hook set, get that hook in its mouth with the shank up, and then you just want to, don't let your line go slack when you have the fish, because that's when they drop it. So you got to keep them on. Then you want to stop him, get your hook, get your thumb under his tongue right there, and that's how you hold him with your under fingers holding him. And then all you got to do is work out that hook. So you want to, something like this one's a little deeper. So sometimes you'll need to get pliers. See how his mouth's tiny, I can't reach in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk over, get some pliers and get that hook
Ready?
out.
So whenever you're holding the fish, you grab your pliers. You want to grab whatever is accessible of the hook and get a tight grip of it and just try to work the hook out. If you can see the tip of the hook, which I can, it's right here, that makes it a little easier. Get a real tight grip of the hook and just push down and it should come right out. All right. And then whenever you go to release the fish, bring them over to the water. Don't throw them. Just give them a nice little toss right back in the water. Ready? And this, good little fish. All right.
And that's how you catch.
And unhook and release a bass. Luke Strasburger.
Jeffrey Strom.
And Noah Orndorff.
All right, so now that you know how to cast and set up your bait caster, you want it just to fall right to you. And now with all this cover right in front of me, you want to try and miss it all. So
A lot of branches and everything hanging out in the water. You don't want to hit on any of this.
Yeah, you'll lose your lure. You'll have to yank on it. You won't get it back. Sometimes you will. So now that you know how to cast, if I want to go straight down here, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to make sure that if my line is down like this, there's nothing in the way of it so it doesn't get pulled on a stick, it doesn't get pulled on a branch. And the best way to work one of these is you want to hold your rod tip up. That way your line is tight, there's not too much slack, and you can feel what a fish does. So you're going to let it sink a couple seconds. If you pull your line up, you should be able to see it, and if the lure's on the bottom, and usually you're able to feel it, and then you'll just slowly reel it, and you want to just give it a couple pops. You should be able to feel that lure just pop a couple times. You know, I'm on that branch up there. So I guess I'm showing you.
So this is an example of how to get it off the branch.
All right, so this is a bad cast then, since we're on a branch. So we're just gonna reel it up, and you should be able to see it. And then you want to wait till that swings about right there, and then you just pop it and reel it in quickly. But then let's say we just want to do a short cast right in front of us. We're just gonna hold this, and make sure you always hold behind the hook so that you don't get yourself hooked. And you're just gonna give it a little flick right in front of you. And this should be the easiest way to work it. You watch your line, and so I see my line just hit the bottom. It just stopped pulling down. So I'm gonna reel in the slack a little. I'm just gonna give it a couple pops. I see, got snagged again. Too many branches. But you can do the same thing. You just toss it out again. And you just wanna watch your line work all the way down. And so a couple of different things. If you're on rocks, if there's a rocky bottom or a lot of sticks like this, sometimes you don't want to let your soft plastic get all the way down. So you want to sometimes keep it a little off the bottom, maybe fish it a little quicker, pop it a little more. If you're fishing a dirt bottom, sand, anything like a dirt cloud that'll leave up a trail, you can hold your rod tip down and just slowly reel it across the bottom. That way it just looks like a natural crawfish, something creeping against the bottom. The only other way I could see you fishing a soft plastic other than slow pops or reeling it against the bottom is if you're fishing something like a jerkbait, anything like a soft plastic jerkbait or a fluke. What you want to do, you'll hold your rod tip up, make sure you have that line, and you'll come down and you'll just do the same thing you do but on the side. That way, instead of the soft plastic working off the bottom, you're working it in about the middle column of the water. You don't want it, you want to let it sink about halfway. You don't want to be at the top of the water, you don't want to be at the bottom. So you just want to work it in that middle. And I can see my line popping. I can see my thing coming in close. And once you get to about the bank, you just want to reel it up. Ain't nothing gonna follow it all the way up. So, like I said, you can just get a real good cast, let it sink. And the way you feel them bite is if you have your line tight, you'd never want to hook set on loose line. So, let's say I had one right here. I'd want to reel my line in tight, drop it. You never want to hook set on loose, so you'll reel it tight and then you'll just swing into the fish. You don't need to like yank it and jump. You just want to swing right into it and be able to feel that fish. And then when you're fighting it, never let your line loose. Don't just sit here and do this and hold it. Try to reel it in tight, but don't speed walk it in because you're just gonna break its mouth open. So you just want to slowly reel it in and make sure your rod, have it bent the whole time, have tension on it. Don't be going like this up and down and reeling up and down like you see in an ocean video. those are different hooks, so they stay on the fish a little better. And since I'm fishing a fluke this time, what I want to do, I can see my line sinking halfway down. I'll get it up to feel it, and then I'll just give it a couple pops. And hopefully you'll get a fish anytime soon, but if you're fishing it right and you're fishing it in good weather, you want to fish a soft plastic more so in the middle. And you can fish them any time of day. I'd recommend that you fish them slow. You never want to go too fast. You know, the bottom is the best part for soft plastics to work. Just that slow pop is usually what gets them. You don't just want to sit there and pop, 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 just like reeling it. If you let it sink, maybe pop it once, one big one. You maybe just pull it all the way up off the bottom like a foot, let it slowly sink back down real little. Keep doing the same thing. Or if you just slowly let it like get to the bottom and you just want to pop, reel in a little pop. Or you can do well, pop, 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 3 pops. Never more than 3, but always have some movement in it. The whole point of a soft plastic is to get a fish's attention and get them to bite. If you're just letting it sit down there, you're not really attracting nothing. The fish don't want that. So if you see this whole pond, anywhere with cover is the best part of the pond. You know, see how that side has no cover down there? There's probably no fish sitting over there. There's nothing. The fish want to feel protected. They don't want to feel like something can get to them. So they'll sit in these branches. They'll go sit in the bottom of the middle where they can see everything and make sure nothing's like in their area. And sometimes when you're walking around a pond, you'll see them in these trees. So you'll spook them off. They'll run away. So you always want to keep a little distance when you first get to a pond. Make sure you can see everything. And if you get close up to the water and you see all these branches, you don't just want to put it right here and as you're reeling it in, not pay attention. You get stuck on this log because you're not going to be able to get it. So, and then other than that, you should be able to feel the bottom. If you're doing it, if you're fishing one without a weight on it, so this is just a weightless fluke, there's no weight anywhere in it, it'll work real slow, it'll fall real slow, it's more natural. Sometimes when you're fishing deeper water, you need a weight to get down there quicker because you can't just be sitting there for 20 seconds letting the fish. Sometimes they usually like it on the drop down, and that weight will leave a bigger dust cloud when you're popping it on the bottom, and sometimes it helps. But you never want to fish a weight anywhere near cover. It can get stuck easier. When you're fishing with a weight, when you pop your line or when it's dropping, your weight will sit here when you're letting it sit. It'll come all the way up to here. It'll come all the way up down your line, and that's what drops your line into a rock bed. So always try and fish a soft plastic more shallow. Sometimes if you want to get to the middle of the pond, let's say it's a hotter middle of the day, that's usually where the fish go, that's where the coldest water is. They'll go sit right in the middle of the pond. That's when you want to work down there and see if you can get a slow moving fish to maybe just eat a nice easy meal. You always just want to work it slow. So that's how to work a soft plastic and a cast with Jeffrey Stone.